Hi, I'm Joe Healy. This is my business management vlog. Um, I'm a student at Leeds Beckett Business School, and I'm 19 years old. I took a gap year out to go to Australia to be a cocktail bartender. Um, so I'm trying to settle into uni life now, learn all my stuff, and become a good businessman. So welcome to my vlog, and I will be talking about market orientations and marketing myths. So I hope you enjoy. So marketing orientation is the biggest orientation there is. Most companies are now shifting to a marketing orientated approach. This is because recently there's a lot of competition in markets, especially retail, clothing, stuff like that. You've got loads of designer places, and so businesses feel the need to focus on the customers' needs in order to attract them to their stores. The best example of this that I found was Nike. They came up with a strategy called Nike ID, which was an online store that they could use for customers to come and customise their own products to their own needs, and they would sell them directly to them. They called this the direct-to-customer approach, and this allowed Nike to benefit because they got all the profits from it. Normally they sell them to retail stores for a certain price, which would not be the same price that the store would sell them for, whereas with this approach they could sell them for the full price and therefore take all the profit. I did some research on this, and 22% of their overall sales as a company is down to Nike ID, which is huge considering how big Nike is as a company. And also they're predicted $5 billion worth of sales this year. So again, that's a massive figure of money. So product orientation is basically around adding to existing ideas. So they've always got to be advancing with the times, and this tends to be technologically. So the classic example of this is Apple. They've got 6 versions of the Macs and 5 versions of iPod. And with the iPhone as well, they're always updating it. This creates a great brand image for customers and makes them want to buy the product more. And you can see this for the sales that they get each year. It's massive figures, and most people have an iPhone, check down to the brand image, and that is based around the product orientation side, as they're always innovating their products, which makes people want to buy it. So production orientation is essentially high volume, low margins and low innovation. An example that I use a lot of is tomato ketchup. That's something that I always get from a regular shop, and many others do it as well. It's almost needs for some people. So basically they just try and make as many as they can and just sell them on. I've got some figures that are like ridiculous. Like they sell 650 million bottles of ketchup a year, and they sell like 1.5 million baked beans every day. So it just shows you like the figures there. It doesn't need to be innovative. People like it the way it is, and there's no need to change. And then finally, you've got sales orientation. This is basically you sell what you produce. So you've got the classic example is McDonald's. You don't have to be the first or the best. There's massive arguments over what's best. McDonald's, Burger King, or whatever. But yeah, they normally try and compete with each other, take market share off each other. And yeah, so that's basically what it is, just literally sell what you produce. Myth is a satisfied customer is a loyal customer. This depends on the way you look at it, really. I found those 2 key aspects to this. One is if you're a loyal person or not, and 2, it depends on the product that you're buying. If you're buying an expensive product and you like it a lot, for example, expensive jewellery, you're more likely to go back to that same store if you wanted more in the future. But whereas if you're buying like a convenience product such as like a food or something like that, and it's really nice, chances are not as likely to go back to that same specific place, as so many food stores out there, and it depends what tickles your fancy, really. So it depends on the way you look at it really in general. But I think if you're buying an expensive product and you really enjoy the service and the product, you're more likely to go back to that store. But whereas if it's a cheaper one, it's not so much the same. So the second marketing myth I've got is a strong brand is invincible. This is not true at all, because any brand can fall from the slightest thing. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. It's life. You can see it from VW. They've had a scandal come out about their emissions, and they've effectively lied to all their customers on their figures and hope to get away with it. This is not the case. People have been sent to jail now, and it'll have a massive effect globally on the brand, and people will remember it for a long time. And there's only one effect with this, so this will affect sales really. If a customer can't trust the brand itself, then there's no chance they're going to buy any products from you. So strong brand is invincible. And third and final one is a big name brand can sustain a higher price. Again, it's true to an extent, depending on how popular the product is in general. So again, I want to relate to Apple. The iPhones, they're always high demand. The brand image there is really, really positive. People always want an iPhone. Everyone's got an iPhone, so it's just like a social norm really. But then again, when you look at the Apple Watches that have just come out, the iPhones themselves are high priced, and the Apple Watches aren't far off really, if not higher. So I looked at figures at this, and they predicted they'd sell about 5 million in the first quarter. Analysts have found that they've only done 2.5. This could be down to the price of the product, and customers are saying it's too high. Several reviews, blogs on the internet saying that this is true. But it depends which way you look at it. Again, it's a really ambiguous question really. Another marketing myth is whether the customer is king or queen. Now again, this would revolve around what philosophy the company has. So if it was a marketing orientated business, then it was more likely that it would be the king or the queen, as they would be the heart of all the decision making process. And the business always looks to provide for their needs, and they are the main part of what keeps the business going. Whereas if it was say a production orientated business such as Heinz, it wouldn't matter as much, because they literally just make as many as they can. They know the demand's there, so I'm not saying they don't care about the customers, but it's more of a lesser fact. So that is the end of my vlog. Doing this vlog, I've learned to look at things from both perspectives and to analyse the situation and come to a conclusion of what I think. This has really helped me and will help me in future decisions that I make. So thanks for watching my vlog, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, because I've absolutely loved it. And thanks a lot. Thank you.